Welcome to Gross Anatomy.
Hi, Dr. Cohen. How are you?
I'm good. Are we live?
We are live. You've got your full gear on, and I don't know. It makes me smile. I guess I don't know if it should make me smile. It means you just came off of
geared up with Gross Anatomy today.
Yeah, I guess you came off of a surgery.
I had a surgery earlier, and then I was seeing patients today.
Nice, but I got like half your painting full of wonderful colors in the background too. So I guess that part made me smile.
Yeah,
it's a combo of what you do and what you love.
What I do and what I used to do back in the day when I had some freedom.
When was the last time you painted?
An oil painting?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember. Maybe residency. So at least 20 years ago.
Wow, I didn't know it'd been that long.
It's very labor intensive, and as you know from your brother, who's an artist, Paint Pulse, who's been a guest, it's a lot of care, and you got to really clean it, and each time you can't just leave it out. And so, I mean, it's at least in my mind, it's not something you could just do as a hobby.
I completely agree, because I had this canvas and I was like, oh, I have an idea for this, and I'm not a painter, but I thought I could pull it off. It is so hard. Yeah, you have to really be into it, and it's not easy. Like, I saw something online and I was like, I think I can manage that. It's a lot harder than it seems.
And you were doing it with oil, or you were doing it with acrylic?
Yeah, I was doing it with oil, and I didn't like it. And I was like, well, I'm going to add some spray paint to it. Like, my brother is like really good with spray paint. And then I realized that's extremely hard to be able to do well. So it doesn't.
Where is that canvas now?
It's in the garage. My husband's like, I probably thinks I'm never going to finish it. And he might be right. I'm like, oh, it's trash.
You gotta send me a picture of it.
I'm going to try to get it a little bit better. I would like to have it finished at some point. But
that's an interesting thing. I was telling my daughter, who's doing some art now. She's doing AP art in high school. That I think most artists, but I could be wrong, feel like their paintings are never truly finished, or not just paintings, their artwork, whatever is, at some point you just kind of say, okay, it's now out in the world. And so it's all different stages of what we're doing.
That makes sense. And that's true. I've read of like screenwriters and how I usually feel about scripts, because you always think about like what more you could add or what you could change. And at some point it has to be finished.
Right. You could always change, you could always add, but at a certain point, you just got to say enough. Right. Not so much with surgery. With surgery, you really have to finish.
Yes. You can't just daydream. You can't just wonder what would happen if I pulled this.
Yeah, or been like, I'm kind of 3/4 of the way done with surgery, but I had enough, so we're done.
I want to take a break.
Yeah, I'm not going to close this person back up, something like that.
See what happens. Yeah, totally different.
Can't do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's why you haven't painted in 20 years, because you're a focused surgeon.
There you go. But I've done some drawing, but not recent either. Not that recent, and with my kids, we would draw and do some watercolor and stuff like that. And recently, because my daughter's in studio doing AP art, she had to buy a whole lot of art supplies, and I went with her because it was fun for me. And I am fantasizing, or at least when I was with her, whether or not at some point in time we could set up a little studio and do it together. That's a thought.
I can see that happening for you. I was actually going to ask if any of your daughters got your art gene. So the youngest one is into art as well.
Yeah, she's in 11th grade and doing AP art already. And I couldn't even do AP art as a senior in high school. So I'm crazily impressed and a little nervous because it's, a lot of work.
Right. Well, that's great. I would love to see some of her art sometime. And then the other daughter, you just took off to college, the middle daughter.
The middle daughter. She started college last week. I was happy for her, to be going on to a next stage of life, but sad that she's leaving and a real adult now and just all of that, it's sad. It's crazy how sad it could be.
Aw, well, so you talked about work-life balance before. I don't mean this to be mean in any way, but is it easier now that you only have one child at home, or is it just as difficult to achieve the work-life balance?
Lauren, you're mean.
I know. I know you miss your daughters. I was just wondering, is it easier with less children at home?
No way. If anything, I have to focus on the one child who's at home and the wife who's at home, who you have to, focus on more because we together, one of our daughters is away. So there's a void there for her. And to some degree, I have to fill that void a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So I've been dying to ask you, you texted me last night that you were going to the Taylor Hawkins tribute concert because one of our guests on a previous episode that everyone should listen to if they haven't, because it's one of my favorite episodes, Josh Homme. He's a musician, producer, Queens of the Stone Age. So he invited you to the tribute concert.
He did. What's funny? So his name is Josh Homme, or Homme, and I think one of the people on stage, like one of the rockers, gave Josh a shout out. And I think I forgot to ask Josh this. It sounded like he called him like Josh Homies or something like that.
Right.
So I don't even think Josh knows how to pronounce it.
So tricky. So yeah. You met up with him and you watched the show, the tribute?
We watched the show, yeah. And we saw him after he finished. He came and gave me a hug, when he was done, which was nice. And he got to, my youngest daughter, Izzy, got to meet him. So that was kind of fun. And Bernice had already met him. So, but it was nice to just talk to him for a few minutes before he had to go back to his thing.
Okay. So what was besides him, who was your favorite act?
So, what was interesting? It wasn't really, it was just like a mix of stuff, and they did a lot of tribute stuff. And like, what was fun was they had one of the guitarists from the Cars there, just a lot of different guys from a lot of different bands who loved Taylor Hawkins were there. So they played random songs from different bands. But Josh did the singing when they did a couple of Cars songs. So that was really fun, I thought. They did Shake It Up, and they did I Don't Mind You Coming Here and Wasting All My Time. Do you know the Cars? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the song title is, but I know that song.
I Guess You're Just What I Needed. Yeah. And so that was really fun. He did those two songs. I thought that was great. He did a couple of his own songs from two of his bands, which was cool too. But what I thought was really fun was they did Panama. Who sings Panama?
Is it Van Halen? No.
Yeah, Van Halen. That's right. So one of the Van Halen guys were there, and they did a couple of songs. They did Hot for Teacher. Mm-hmm. But Panama was great. Panama was a lot of fun.
You know why I know that, though, is because I saw Taylor Hawkins. Redondo Beach had one of their first music festivals, and I went to it, and he was there. He had a Van Halen like cover band, basically like in honor of them. And he, instead of drumming, well, I think he played drums, but he was also like the lead singer. He came out in a full leopard unitard, just like full rocker mode. Like he wasn't the best singer, but he was great. And his energy was amazing. I was like, he plays for the Foo Fighters. He must have millions. He didn't need to be doing this like little show, but he did it just because he loves singing and playing, and he loves Van Halen. Yeah. He was just out there. Yeah. Like, I've never seen anybody who just enjoyed music so much and, obviously wasn't doing that performance for the money. It was really great to see.
And that's what this show kind of was. It was just like Jack Black came out for a little bit. Like it was just random people who love Taylor Hawkins, who get Joe Walsh from the Eagles. I mean, it was just like it was just fun. They didn't even need to perform. It was just kind of cool seeing them come out on the stage, But it was, so many different guys were playing drums. Motley Crue. I mean, it was like, and I'm not a big rock guy, but it was just a lot of fun to see all those people out there.
Well, obviously I didn't know Taylor Hawkins personally, but I got the impression he just loves music and talking to musicians. So he must have just been like picking everyone's brains, just like friends with all these other rockers. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like everybody really loved him. Which which was amazing. And Josh was great. I mean, he almost like was the second MC, like Foo Fighters. Grohl was like the number one guy, but then Josh was like, he was pretty involved in the whole thing, and it was a lot of fun.
That's great. And so was there like you were given tickets? Were people purchasing tickets, and like did it go to some cause or something, or was it a donation?
I must confess, I don't know what it went to, but I think it may have gone to some good thing. But yeah, we were given those seats, the three of us, and we were just down on the floor, which was just walking around, really fun.
That's cool. Yes, yeah, it's sad. I mean, I imagine most of our audience knows who he is, famous for his Foo Fighter legendary drumming skills. But he died at the age of 50. And I was looking, because I never heard the cause of death, but I think it's another one of those with a lot of different pills, opioids, so that kind of thing. He was on antidepressants. Yeah. I guess it just mixes, and your heart, I mean, you're a doctor, your heart, what does it like literally like get heavy, like too big? Like what happens?
Well, yeah, I read that too, that his heart was supposedly twice the size of normal, but
I know, I'm like, how true can that be?
Yeah, it could be true, but it's not like direct, you take that drug and that's going to happen. I mean, he may have had like congestive heart failure or cardiomyopathy just from his life and doing everything he was doing, or maybe he had an underlying thing and that made it worse. It's hard to say for sure, but the reality is it's rock and roll. It's an amazing life that these guys have, and it's an amazing energy, and they're artists too, and artists tend to be troubled a little bit a lot of times, and tend to sometimes be, I think calling it fringe is not the right word, but just emotional souls, so yeah, unfortunately that's what happens.
Yeah, no, I mean, it happened to Tom Petty too. You're like, it's a lot of the opioids, and like you don't realize they're on their feet all the time. They're like up at different hours, like their body's just like Prince, like on all these like painkillers. Like they have a hard lifestyle.
Yeah, no, it's definitely you would think that musicians or rock stars who make it would retire the same way athletes do, because you hear like an athlete will retire at 40, and that's a long career.
Right.
And it's the same kind of thing. It's so grueling and stuff. So you don't really hear musicians saying at 40, I'm out.
Right. No, you're right. Yeah, it definitely takes its toll on your body. That's why, I mean, I saw Mick Jagger, I feel like it was like 15 years ago now, and he was just amazing. Apparently he does aerobics like 3 times a day. Like you wouldn't even, it's the same energy. It's crazy.
Right. He's like from what I hear is very active in terms of, like you said, aerobics. Like he's training, he's doing stuff so that he could do what he does. And that's how he's able to do it. Which is amazing too.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea if he's like sober or what, but yeah, he's got to be like almost 80 now.
He's getting up there. Yeah, he's getting up there.
So I guess some people can pull it off. I don't know. Anything else you want to tell us about the show?
Just it was fun. It was really fun. It was really entertaining, and it felt good. And there was a lot of love, and it was really nice. It was exciting.
Oh, good. I'm glad. All right, then we can segue into what we're watching. I'm watching something that sounds like it's related to the show. It's called The Patient. Have you heard of it? The Patient on Hulu. It's an FX joint.
I feel like I saw something about who's in that.
Steve Carell.
Right. What is it?
Okay, so at first I didn't want to watch it because it sounded too scary, and you know how we feel about scary things.
We hate scary.
Hate scary things.
Hate scary.
But I didn't really have anything else to watch, and I heard Steve Carell give such a good performance. So he's a therapist, a psychiatrist, and this patient kidnaps him, has like his leg chained to like the wall. He has like a bed and everything, and he wakes up with his leg chained, and the serial killer just wants him to curb his homicidal urges. And that's like, there's like a 10-part series about like him in this room with a serial killer.
Wait. I'm confused. So the serial killer kidnaps Steve Carell because he wants Steve Carell to help him.
With his homicidal urges, yes.
Okay.
But I know,
yeah.
so it sounds really scary, but it's really not that scary. And there's some really good scenes in it. And there's some like flashbacks to him. He's Jewish, and then his son, I guess, is estranged because he went into an ultra-Orthodox religion. So there's like different...
Wait, who's Jewish? Steve Carell or the killer?
Steve Carell. I mean, he's not Jewish in real life, but...
Right. Interesting. Does it seem believable? Like it sounds like a little... It seems...
Well, I think it's good, and why it's good and not scary is because it's really just like, it's like 21 minutes. Like the episodes are really short. I think that's what's good about it. It's just like kind of like flashes and scenes of his emotions and his life. And he is really good in it so far.
Okay. So you recommend it?
I do.
Did we ever talk about The Shrink Next Door?
No. Oh yeah. I think we did. I think I started that, or I listened to the podcast and you watched it. Do you watch the whole show?
No, I never finished it. I kind of lost interest too.
Okay.
But there's just so much stuff.
There is so much stuff. So I don't know if the patient's exactly what you want to watch, but it's out there for anyone that wants to see it. It's worth a watch, I think.
Yeah. My kids watched and told me I should watch the movie that Olivia Wilde directed, that movie that came out recently with Harry Styles.
Yeah, it's like all over entertainment news.
Right.
What is it called? Why did I forget what it was called?
It's like Stepford Wivesy.
Don't worry, darling.
Right. And it's supposedly spooky and scary also, but they said I should still watch it, even though it's spooky and scary.
Okay. It's like a psychological thriller, kind of like this show, I guess, probably.
Yeah, I think so. Spooky, scary, kind of, but I don't know. So maybe I will try to watch it. Who knows?
Yeah, go out to the movies if you got the time.
Yeah, but speaking of spooky and scary, we went to Universal Studios 2 weekends ago, or 10 days ago. And my wife made me go on The Mummy with her.
The Mummy?
Yeah. Have you been on that?
No, I have not. Is that scary?
Well, are you a roller coaster fan?
No.
No, me neither.
Big wussers.
So I closed my eyes on most of it. I closed I did it and I didn't complain. And then she said, wasn't that fun? And I was like, not really. But I didn't complain at all. I did it. And we also did, what was the other one? The Mummy and the water one. What was the water one?
Yeah, that was Water World, the whole... Oh, that's not a ride, though.
No, that's the show. We did The Mummy and I don't remember. Jurassic Park, is that it? Yeah, Jurassic Park.
I haven't done that one.
We did Jurassic Park. That was okay. But The Mummy...
Don't they have like Fright Fest or something? Or did you go before that? You went before like...
It was before that, yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's no Fright Fest for me. There's no way I'm doing that. Okay. But even The Mummy was enough for me. That was more than I needed to do.
Yeah, I wish I could like think roller coasters were fun, but the few times I've gotten on one before because my husband asked me to, and the whole time I just want it to be over. Like I don't find it fun at all. I'm just like,
no, me neither.
It's over.
But I did roller coasters as a kid, and I think I enjoyed that. Like I don't remember hating them, and I remember being into going on them. Mm-hmm. As a teenager and stuff with my friends, but it may have just been because you feel like you have to. But I always like the water rides, the flumes, where you go down and get splashed. Yeah. For some reason, I kind of, even though it was a drop, I kind of like those.
Well, that's good. So look at you branching out.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. All right. Well, I think that's a good show. If you want to
like the show? You enjoyed the show? Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.
That's it for this week. Thanks for listening to Gross Anatomy, and be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you can check out more episodes on the evolving sights, smells, and sounds of medicine. Gross Anatomy is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition.